PrestonPlayz $25 million illegal Minecraft scam.
$25 million. If I told you a Minecraft server could make that money in the span of not even 10 years,
at least he's not touching the kids.
You'd probably be thinking I'm talking about Hypixel, but no, I'm talking about a server which is far, far worse. A server owned by some of the biggest and most famous Minecraft YouTubers there has ever been. A server which was arguably the most pay-to-win of any server there
slot
ever was,
tickets.
one of which had a literal slot machines
is that gambling
and
for
actual
kids?
Gambling that raked in tens of thousands of dollars every single day. In fact, it even got so bad that Mojang had to intervene and ban them over 6 years ago. But it's a server which, through its controversy, Mojang blocks, and infamy, managed to see over 20,000 players online and, of course, $25 million in revenue. Today, I'll tell you the untold story of famous YouTubers Preston and Woofle's Minecraft server, Cosmic PvP, one of the most infamous servers to ever exist that made tens of millions of dollars through illegal child gambling, whilst being banned by Mojang. In 2014, Cosmic PvP factions would first release. But first, this video is sponsored by Hexgears, creators of the world's first low-profile.
Okay, that's fair. Let's watch the ads.
Hexgears has announced
because we're reacting to it. The least we can do is watch the ads.
Which will go on sale starting on the 26th of August. Damaged switches won't be a problem, as you can replace any switch without needing to replace the keyboard. Some of the keyboard's unique features are its dedicated RGB switch and display screen. If you're a fan of aesthetics, the keyboard's 16.8 million color RGB backlight will be perfect for you, providing enhanced ambience for those late night gaming sessions. But the coolest aesthetic feature has to be the multimedia display screen, visible here, allowing you to customize and display any GIF you want. This is my personal favorite feature of the keyboard and what I had the most fun playing with. It's really nice to be able to add your own touch to the keyboard like this. You can edit the display with the custom hex drive software, which also allows you to set key configurations, macros, RGB effects, and lighting modes, as well as specific RGB effects for
I'm not trying to shit on his sponsor, but I just see
design at half the height of
no value in this
switches
one.
Also offer faster precision and performance. They actually feel really nice and smooth to the touch, as well as being really responsive in my experience, probably due to the full N key rollover, which means the keyboard can handle several keystrokes at the same time, regardless of how fast or how many keys are being pressed. You can choose from 3 different types of switches: the KO Tactical, the Silent KO Linear, or the louder KO Clicky, all rated for 50 million clicks. And click as hard as you want, as the keyboard's aircraft grade aluminium alloy structure means that whilst very slim and sleek, it's also built to last intense gaming sessions. And if you don't like wires, then this keyboard is for you, as it has an alternative wireless Bluetooth connectivity option, allowing you to play on the go no problem. And don't worry about battery either, as the keyboard's 5,800
wireless
battery
option
gives you
is
up to 50
quite
hours of uninterrupted game time
cool.
with RGB enabled, charging in less than 3 hours. Use this coupon to get 15%.
That's not bad, having like a hybrid keyboard that can both go with wire and wireless.
Around the time, Minecraft Factions was one of, if not the most popular Minecraft game mode present on hundreds of servers. It is a game mode which has struggled to remain popular today, ultimately falling out of relevancy for the most part. Players would make guilds, otherwise known as factions, and build bases often hidden underground or high up in the sky, full of valuable loot. The goal of factions was to find other factions' bases and raid them using TNT cannons, with the one golden rule being that no matter what, every base can be raided. There is no way to make an unraidable base. Think of it like
basically
the
like
Minecraft
Rust.
version of Rust, although Minecraft Factions did technically come first,
What he said.
dating back as early as 2010. Anyways, what you need to know is that Factions was a competitive raiding and PvP-centered game mode that comprised of dedication, knowledge, and skill, with individual factions often containing upwards of 30 to 40 people all working together. Throughout 2012 and 2013,
Makes me feel so old because I've never heard of that game mode. It sounds cool though.
the game mode gained widespread popularity, with dozens upon dozens of YouTubers making factions videos, many of which beginning their careers playing factions. It had evolved from players building large castles and bases above ground, mostly defending them with iron armor in 2010 and 2011, to players building underground bases made of obsidian and PvPing with enchanted diamond armor, mushroom soups, and golden apples. This is where Cosmic PvP would enter the burgeoning scene. You see, in 2014, many servers realized that the highly competitive and dedicated player base Factions drew in was one of which was perfect to monetize. Because Factions was so absurdly competitive with players losing all their items, their bases and dying super often, it meant that purchasable ranks which gave players advantages through free items and kits were extremely lucrative. Server owners began to realize the potential Factions had to make some serious money, far more so than the survival servers and minigame servers,
I hate
which were also popular
microtransactions
around the time.
Every
the game mode was an unexplored goldmine. Popular YouTubers from the time, Preston and Mr. Waffles, were currently riding the Minecraft Factions wave over on YouTube and had done a very successful series on a faction server in early 2014.
Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Waffles and Preston here with a very exciting new series. Welcome to Factions on Extronus.
However, after 50 episodes, that series would ultimately conclude. But in June of that same year, Season 2 of their Faction series would begin.
And the reason why is we had a lot of issues with our previous Faction server, and so yeah, we've been spending like the last 3 months building our own customized Faction server with custom enchants and new war zone and lots of cool new features.
This time, due to whatever
That is a YouTuber right there. That was like content brain. He played it for 50 episodes. He probably realized how much money they made, and he was like, I want to do it myself. If they can scam the kids, so can we.
Issues they were having, they decided to make their own faction server instead. And thus, in mid-2014, Cosmic PvP was born. Cosmic PvP began as any normal faction server at the time, but as you can see from the server store being linked right at the top of every one of Preston's videos, clearly they knew there were hundreds of thousands to be made here. Not long after launch, the server had already begun seeing thousands of concurrent players online daily. It was an instant success. If we go to archives of the server,
that's crazy. It has more concurrent players than the recently released game Concord. Which is like an Overwatch type game. It's a hero shooter.
The store, we can see that even as far back as mid-2014, Cosmic PvP was already selling space chests, which we can also see from early videos with basically a loot box containing potentially OP items. It's Minecraft gambling, an early version of crates, very
pay to win.
They also had something called the Black Market, which, while we can no longer view, was likely a selection of kits, commands, and other purchasable pay-to-win goods. Now, compared to what Cosmic PvP would become later, this ultimately wasn't that bad. Despite obviously being pay-to-win and containing gambling, it was very much possible to progress and become a top player entirely free to play. As such, the server would draw large crowds of players who really enjoyed playing it and watching Preston's videos. And undoubtedly, it was a well set up and well run server for the time, deserving of its early but comparatively small success. However, in 2015 and continuing into the later 2010s, things began to change. Cosmic PvP began to change. Minecraft factions began to change, ultimately, as many would say, for the worse. With Minecraft 1.9 releasing in early 2016 and factions being a mode best played in 1.8 due to the PvP, many servers did not update beyond 1.8.9 and had no plans to support any future Minecraft updates where the combat would be different. And since the dedicated player base of factions had now been playing the game a few years, the game needed to evolve. It needed new fresh content to keep players interested. It needed to become
people just got
more
bored
advanced.
out of it.
It was around this time that factions began incorporating a lot of RPG mechanics. Cosmic would lead the charge with such changes, and soon enough, custom enchantments, custom items, abilities, god kits with enchantments.
That's what we tried as well when we were running our own Minecraft server. We also wanted to go into like full MMORPG, and it did not quite work out. We should have just sold loot boxes like this dude.
Exceeding vanilla levels, and much more became commonplace on faction servers. Bases went from underground boxes to sky-high monoliths protected by 5, 10, 50, even hundreds of walls. There was a shift from factions solely focusing on PvPing and raiding to being a much more grindy, wealth-accumulating MMO light, and by that I mean factions' top prizes and leaderboards became commonplace, where the factions with the most wealth, often in the form of spawners, would receive real money PayPal payouts at the end of each season.
What the hell?
Which which once took only a few minutes to raid, would now take advanced cannons hours to blast through. The game mode shifted away from its vanilla survival roots, flying became normal. That's right, most donor ranks gained the ability to fly anywhere on the map, and players would start the server already with diamond tools. In the later 2010s, factions became almost unrecognizable from what it once was only a few years prior. The game mode had become much more complex, where once a protection 4 set of diamond armor with a sharpness 5 sword was the best gear you could get, now that was considered early game or starter gear. That being said, this gameplay shift wasn't actually a bad thing. With it, factions continue to remain popular. Dozens of servers such as the Archon, Psycho PvP,
I gotta say, that is something that happens with most MMORPGs. The weapon that you worked sometimes months for by raiding in World of Warcraft, for example, is not stronger than the first base weapon you get from the new expansion. So that is something that is very common in MMORPG.
And YouTube content surrounding factions and Cosmic PvP especially continue to get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. But with factions becoming much more grindy, so did the potential for increased monetization. Servers now had lots and lots of crates, paid chests, mystery boxes, and other assorted versions of loot boxes containing OP items, costing anywhere from a few dollars to over
$500?
Ranks became much more pay to win, often giving paying players abilities like flight.
Wait, stop. $500? Are they crazy?
Became much more pay to win, often giving paying players abilities like flight, which we just talked about, now providing absurd advantages over non-paying players, and also giving them access to god kits with gear that was extremely powerful.
Wow.
Server stores became huge. There were almost a dozen categories of assorted goods you could buy now, with prices entering the hundreds of dollars. If you didn't have a rank, you weren't going to be able to properly compete anymore. Spending money became much more necessary.
$135?
And of course, Cosmic PvP was at the forefront of this grindy pay-to-win shift. You can see Reddit posts from the time of older players complaining about how pay-to-win and excessively grindy the server had become, and how you weren't able to compete as a free-to-play player anymore.
But they learned from whatever game they played before, because that's how you do it. You increase the grind and then offer an easy way out of the grind, so you can pay basically for convenience, pay to get faster out of the grind.
Factions had changed entirely. Speaking of which, a lot of the footage you've been seeing in this video is from my very own Modern Civilization faction server, which only recently released, where we aim to bring back the more traditional style of Minecraft factions with new updates, fun RPG features like skills, bosses, dungeons, and server-wide events. Factions is my all-time favorite Minecraft mode, and I have so many experiences playing it. There is absolutely zero gambling on my server, and it's very new player friendly. You can build small underground bases or larger ones and join one of 3 civilizations with special biome themed perks. So if you are an old school factions fan like myself, or more of a new SMP player, come check it out. And be sure to subscribe as well. No pressure. Anyways, the most egregious of Cosmic's monetization had to be its various gambling mechanics, but one feature in particular. Beyond
Is that a slot machine?
Crates,
it looks like a
PvP
slot machine.
was one of the first and only servers to introduce literal slot machines. It's not like they tried to hide it either.
I swear I did not watch the video, but it just looked like a casino slot machine.
Them slots here. Remember, this is a server which gained a lot of its player base through PrestonPlayz, a YouTuber with a relatively younger skewing audience. Cosmic PvP was promoting gambling to children, something highly illegal virtually everywhere worldwide. And this wasn't just the kind of gambling light we see commonly in games like loot boxes and crates, but instead casino-style slot machines. These were everywhere at the time on Cosmic. Almost every YouTuber who played the server was either given free loot boxes, crates, and slot boxes.
How do they even
or
do
obtain
this?
some to use in a video, directly encouraging and exposing these children
to the
program
a slot machine into Minecraft?
The items in these could be some of the best on the server. Sometimes it was the only way to get a top rank, making them extremely alluring. The slot tickets, or slot bots as Cosmic called them, were a real money printer, and likely what enabled the server to earn a big chunk of its $25 million. In fact, I was told that upon season resets on factions present in Skyblock, it wasn't uncommon for the server to make 6 figures in their first week.
Today I have a banger for y'all. Today we will be opening up 45 slot tickets. Not because I want to, but because I have to, because if I They expire.
The in-game slots were
They
a huge
expire?
success monetarily for Cosmic. Not only did they have the same harmful gambling psychology employed as do slots in a casino, but Cosmic also added a layer of FOMO, or fear of missing out to them, enabled through the fact that these slot tickets would
That
for
is
some reason
actually,
expire if you didn't use them.
From a scammer's perspective, ultra smart. But from the victim's perspective, that is like the worst thing they could have done. Adding FOMO to a slot machine mechanic, that is just, oh my god, that's just so evil.
Soon enough. I have contact with a former higher up at Cosmic PvP who worked there for some time, and he told me that the slot bots were making the server tens of thousands of dollars every day just by themselves. I should also mention that Cosmic PvP had expanded beyond factions in the later 2010s and had also opened up a prison and skyblock server which was monetized in the same way. A gambling culture rapidly formed on Cosmic PvP. As I was told by a former staff, besides the many paid loot boxes, crates and slots, it was very common to see players gambling through coin flipping. Coin flipping is a little game where you wager a certain amount of in-game money, another player calls your wager, and you then have a 50-50 chance to either double your wagered money or lose it all. Normally it's harmless as it's just in-game money, but the issue begins when that in-game money has real-world value.
$15 million? Please. Can I take it off my headset, dude? No! Why? No! No! I'm going all in. I'm going all in.
These coin flips only took seconds, and they became so prominent that entire discords were set up to sell in-game money for real money. So players were effectively coin flipping in-game money, which they would then either buy or sell for hundreds, if not thousands of real dollars in third-party discords. They were effectively coin flipping and thus gambling with real money. And this stuff was huge on Cosmic. You could see hundreds of old coin flip videos still on YouTube. The insane pay-to-win and of course gambling that became rampant on Cosmic PvP would ultimately culminate in the server being blocked by Mojang in May of 2017. They were one of the first Minecraft servers to be blocked, and to this day, over 7 years later, that same IP that was initially blocked still remains blocked. To explain, in early 2016, Mojang introduced code that would block vanilla clients from joining Minecraft servers which broke the game's EULA. Servers that were blocked were often the most egregiously monetized of them all, as despite the strict EULA rules in place at the time, many servers broke them and continued to operate scot-free. Upon being blocked, you would think that this would spell the end of Cosmic PvP and the huge child gambling operation entirely, right? Wrong. You see, the blocks only applied to modern Minecraft versions, which at the time, many of the biggest faction servers like Cosmic were not running, as they were still on 1.8. So their playbase could connect and continue playing no issue. Cosmic would even later release their own Minecraft client called Cosmic Client, which of course had their server unblocked and accessible. As such, Cosmic PvP was almost entirely unaffected by this block and continued seeing thousands of players online throughout the late 2010s. However, things would begin to change entering 2020. It is now 2020. Cosmic has been operational for over 6 years and by all means is still very successful. Despite no longer peaking at the 5,000 to 6,000 players it once was, Cosmic was still seeing close to 2,000 peak players every month, and with Minecraft's resurgence in popularity the year prior, also saw a lot of YouTube content being made on the server again. But factions as a game mode and 1.8 PvP was beginning to die out. Minecraft had received so many updates since 2014 that 1.8 was really now showing its age, and outside of the better PvP, was significantly inferior to modern Minecraft in every way. Cosmic PvP factions was dying. Factions used to bring in upwards of 5,000 players a day alone, and now it was barely bringing in more than a few hundred. You can see some of these servers' long-time players talking about this and complaining about how the server's extremely grindy pay-to-win mechanics and extreme number of custom features like enchantments had made the game no longer fun to play and no longer new player friendly.
Now we all know that, most servers in general these days are very pay to win, but Cosmic really brings us to a whole nother level. Most servers don't have as many G kits as Cosmic does, or V kits, or kits in general. There is no way you are playing Cosmic if you do not have top rank. PvP has always been more enchant based, not really skill based, more enchant. Once you start adding a number of enchants where you can't keep track anymore, I feel like that's when it's starting to become a problem.
However, Cosmic still had their Skyblock and Prison server, which were unaffected by the 1.8 changes and factions decline, as they aren't as PvP centric, and in the case of Skyblock, which released in February 2019, were actually on newer versions of the game, so things were still going steady.
They had quite a few content creators back in the second season of Cosmic Sky. They'd sorted out the bugs, they sorted out the meta from the first season. Now this season, with the advertising of the YouTubers on board, the server peaked at over 5,000 players.
In fact, with YouTube promotion from dozens of large YouTubers such as The Pack and even some of the Sidemen, Cosmic Sky would peak at over 5,000 players online in their second season, and then over 7,000 in their third, almost rivaling the peak of factions all those years ago. Cosmic Sky also had very much retained the gambling culture Cosmic PvP factions did, and I was told that a lot of the economy centered around the slot bots and coin flipping again. Apparently, Cosmic Sky had a large IRL trading scene where players would sell or trade valuable in-game items for PayPal money. It seemed like Cosmic had successfully adapted to the changing Minecraft landscape and would be set for the coming years. Well, that was until 2021.
The problem with Season 3 is, this is where
It's always the YouTubers that look like the least threatening, the ones that you would see in a, I don't know, Disney Channel show, that are the scammiest and most exploitative.
Years.
So sad.
Well, that was until 2021.
The problem with Season 3 is, this is where we start to see a bit of the downfall of Cosmic. Now, starting from Season 3, you had to use the Cosmic client in order to connect to the server. This was because Mojang had blocked the IP of Cosmic Sky due to it not complying with the EULA.
In January 2021, Cosmic Sky was blocked by Mojang. And since, unlike factions, players were using newer versions of the game, this time they couldn't as easily skirt their punishment. While players using the custom Cosmic client were unaffected, new players who wouldn't even know what the client was wouldn't be able to connect to the server and join it for the first time, meaning almost no new players were joining the server anymore. Combined with some poorly received updates around the time, you can see here that beginning in March of 2021, about 2 months after the block, Cosmic PvP's server play count began to massively drop off. By the end of 2021, the server's play count had halved from a peak of close to 2,000 players to a peak of 700 to 800. Here in this video, we can see that Cosmic Sky's play count in early 2022 was now in the double digits, a huge decrease from the hundreds, even close to thousands, it used to be seeing only a year ago. Most of Cosmic PvP's remaining player base was in its
50 is still big to me.
prison server and barely holding on faction server. Cosmic Skyblock would shut down 1 year after being blocked in March of 2022, unable to evade their block this time, with it ultimately being the nail in the coffin for them.
But it used to be in the thousands. It literally, sometimes it used to be, you have to keep spamming it to get in. You used to not be able to get in planets. Even if you had like the 3rd rank, you used to not be able to get in a planet. You used to have the top.
Throughout 2022, the player count continued to dwindle. Without Skyblock to bring new players in and factions dying, Prison was the only game mode keeping things afloat, with the server peaking at around 200 to 300 players per month. Still rather decent, but far from the thousands it was once getting. Then, in early 2023, it was announced that Cosmic PvP's dying factions mode, their once most popular and most iconic, was shutting down. Now, all that was left was Cosmic Prisons, a mode which, while popular in its own regard, was a far, far cry from factions' early success and Skyblock's later success. Prisons retained a few hundred players throughout 2023, now the sole Cosmic game mode left operational, but in mid-2023, Prisons would shut down as well.
As you can tell by the title, Cosmic Prisons is shutting down. That is the conclusion of the...
That must suck for all the people that spent like several $100s on loot boxes and all the other microtransactions that they had. If the server gets shut down, that's why you should always be very careful with what you are spending in an online game, because once the server shut down, all the things that you spent money on will also die and get destroyed.
Legacy of Cosmic. That's it for Cosmic for Minecraft servers right now.
Unlike factions in Skyblock, Prisons was never blocked, but as smaller Cosmic YouTubers said, the game mode simply became too complicated and too grindy for the new age Minecraft player.
The reason why no one wanted to play the server, this server is too complex for a brand new player.
The new age Minecraft player prefers mostly straightforward SMPs like they see all their favorite YouTubers play on. Anything more complex than that is unfortunately asking too much of them. As such, in October 2023, the Cosmic PvP Minecraft server, one of the most successful and well-known, would finally close its doors after almost 10 years of operation. The official website was updated to this: over 5 million unique players with over 20,000 concurrent users at their all-time peak, numbers which can only be rivaled by Hypixel.
That's a lot.
Over 500,000 downloads of their client and over $25 million in gross revenue, an absurd figure. Ultimately,
That is
despite the
freaking
rampant
insane.
illegal child gambling the server harbored, it was still a very influential server that is cherished in the memories of many. And it doesn't
They
just
stole
have to
our
be
money and ran. This guy's not
Well,
sugarcoating
not for
it.
Skyblock anyways, as only about a month ago now, Cosmic Sky actually reopened and is seeing upwards of 1,500 players online daily again. I'm a bit reluctant to show this to you all because, surprise surprise, the money printing slot bot seems to be back. Oh, and let's not forget the $15 and $40 loot boxes. But yes, Cosmic Sky is back as of a month ago.
$50 loot
That being
boxes.
said, Cosmic PvP Factions,
Kids!
the server's most iconic game.
Kids, please. If there's a loot box in a game, first of all, don't buy it. Especially don't buy it if the loot box is worth almost a AAA title. Just save up the money and buy something like Elden Ring that you can play for hundreds of hours. Instead of buying a loot box. You don't even know what you get out of it. At least if you buy Elden Ring, you get Elden Ring.
Mode, which started it all, may never see the light of day again. Don't be too upset though, as if you are looking for a faction server that plays more like old school factions with smaller underground bases, come check out my new Civilization faction server. We've got a bunch of modern custom features that are way less grindy and absolutely zero gambling. IP is in the description. Be
That's
sure
good.
to subscribe.
Zero
Thank you all
gambling
so
is good.
much.
And we're also gonna subscribe because that video was quite good. To be honest though, I kind of expected something like a bigger bombshell, if that makes sense, because I mean, like, scamming kids out of $25 million is a lot, but I thought it's gonna get a little bit deeper than that. It was still a good video. I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying that I was kind of expecting more, but that's probably because I watched all those Mr. Beast exposed videos, but those were also 50 minutes long.